If you've been online recently, you've likely seen the news that Katseye's only black member, Manon, is now on indefinite hiatus. The response went beyond just fans. Major artists like Ray, Lizzo, Halle Bailey, Normani, Kehlani, Leanne from Little Mix, and SZA publicly showed support. Black women in the music industry are clearly paying attention, and now fan concerns have only grown after Katseye's recent Lollapalooza performances without Manon, where her parts were redistributed and the choreography was adjusted. And I'm not gonna lie, they did eat up that performance, but at what cost? It's also up for debate whether her parts were actually covered in a way that felt complete. Now, Katsye was marketed as a global girl group, which explains why this became part of a much wider conversation. And this isn't happening early in their careers. The group has been developing publicly since Popstar Academy in 2023, so this moment comes after years inside the system that created them. Manon entered that system after being scouted through Instagram DMs without any prior formal training. And the more you look at all of this, the more it starts to point back to the system itself. Dream Academy was presented as something new, fully in English, backed by Hybe and Geffen, and streamed on Netflix. But when you actually look at how it works, it still follows the Korean survival show model seen in programs like Produce 101 and Girls Planet 999. The format relied on familiar K-pop elements, tier rankings, public voting, dorm-style isolation, and emotional confessionals. And because of that, it creates a high-pressure environment where trainees are constantly compared, ranked, and evaluated under public scrutiny. Even without confirmed vote manipulation, that structure alone shapes how people are perceived. And it's not even just the format, there's also the element of deception. Many participants explicitly asked if they were joining a survival show and were told it was just a training program. They only found out later that their future would be decided by public voting months into the process, which realistically changes how you would approach everything from the start. Before debut, the traditional K-pop system treats idols less like artists and more like managed investments. And if you followed K-pop at all, a lot of this will probably sound familiar. In many companies, female idols are expected to maintain a clean and pure image that can be sold as a fantasy. Dating bands can last years, and even being seen in a relationship can end a career. So from the start, personal autonomy is already limited. Trainees are often denied phones. Their diets are controlled to keep them under strict weight limits. They wake up at 5 a.m. and don't sleep until 1 a.m., repeating the same cycle of training. And during production periods, it gets even more intense. Filming a single song can stretch over 40 hours across multiple days with very little sleep. Because of that, it creates this mindset where you either push through or get replaced. Performing through injuries is framed as dedication. Collapsing from exhaustion becomes normal. The pressure doesn't stop for illness. So for someone like Manon coming from Switzerland, where rest during sickness is expected, entering a system like this would already feel like a major shift. During Dream Academy, that same system was placed under constant surveillance and streamed globally. And this is where things start to feel a bit contradictory. Unlike many idols, the members were not completely stripped of their individuality. They had personal social media and were not assigned rigid personalities, at least on the surface. So on one hand, it feels more authentic and more aligned with a global audience. But at the same time, it raises questions, especially when that individuality is still being shaped and presented, and when you start to notice elements of over-sexualization. Also, the physical demands are still there. Trainees were dealing with serious injuries from months of training, and in some cases needed medical support just to get through performances. And at a certain point, you have to ask how sustainable that actually is. Even worse, when health issues come up in an environment like this, taking time off is immediately seen as a lack of commitment. Injury becomes weakness. Rest becomes something that has to be justified. And since the documentary only showed selected moments, it completely shaped how people interpreted who was working hard and who wasn't. And it does make me wonder why certain moments were emphasized the way they were, especially if the goal was to build a group people are supposed to root for. After debut, the cycle intensifies. K-pop girl groups are not given long breaks between promotion cycles. Unlike many Western artists who may take 1 to 2 years off between albums, idol groups often return after 1 or 2 months. So the expectation is constant output. Katsye may operate with more autonomy than traditional idols, but they still exist within a system that demands performance at all times. They're testing a new model of stardom, one that allows individuality without fully letting go of that intensity. But this situation makes the cost a lot more visible. Manon said she felt like 2026 would be her year, and maybe it still will be, but right now, her absence carries weight, especially considering how much was built around her presence in the group. When this happens inside a system that is meant to be more flexible, more global, and more individual, it leaves a gap that is hard to overlook. Because if this is what happens even in a new model, then what exactly has changed?